Hello, guys. How are you? I hope you are well. So, I didn't think I was going to talk about this, but I feel that I need to say something, so that everybody can understand why some people felt rather insulted or uneasy about some of the things that happened during the King Misuzulu's presidential, coronation, which took place on the 29th of October. So everything was perfectly fine. I felt that it was beautiful. He walked in there, he was wearing his traditional attire in all its glory, and that was beautiful and magnificent to watch. And the dances, everything was just perfect. However, and you need to go back in time because when his father um, was being coronated the presidential way, he had to wear a suit, even though he had his leopard regal on top of his suit. But there were still some political elements that kind of held him back from, wearing his whole full Zulu regal. But this time, King Misuzulu was able to, you know, wear his full attire, and that was absolutely beautiful. It was nice. He wasn't wearing a suit, it was full on traditional Zulu royal way. That was amazing. However, the part that I didn't like, the part that was uneasy for me, was when they anointed him with that holy oil. Let's get something straight. First and foremost, this was a presidential coronation, meaning that it's done by the state. So it isn't a traditional coronation in a sense. However, that moment made me realize that we are still far, far away from us being truly liberated in our own country. And what I mean by that is that proved to me that we are the Republic of South Africa and not necessarily South Africa. And if you don't understand what I mean by that, to put it in simple terms, that showed me that the monarch of England, Queen Elizabeth, is still in control of our state, because for one, as much as he was getting his certificate, this certificate is a presidential thing, right? It has nothing to do with tradition. It's just what the state does. And who controls the state? Yes, you got that right. So the royals of England still control the state of South Africa because we are one of the Commonwealth countries. And you see this with every presidential election. Before a person becomes a president of South Africa, they go to England, they get anointed by the Queen, meaning that they have to, you know, make it acceptable to the West. They have to go there. It's almost like going to bow down to a majesty, and tell that person that, you know what, your assets are still safe. They are still safe. These people are sleeping. You have nothing to worry about. So that's why they go to the UK. They get anointed into the presidency. Now, why do I have a problem with that? We are only free democratically, but we are yet to be liberated for the fact that our country is still controlled by that monarch that has spilled so much blood of black people. So now, when I saw that coronation of the king, of our king, the fact that they had to anoint him with the holy oil, and there was an angelic priest or pastor, whatever you choose to call him, he was there to anoint the king with the holy oil. I felt that is pretty much a Western construct. It has nothing to do with us, the black people. It has nothing to do with tradition, but it has everything to do with the protection of that crown. A crown that we really don't care about, a crown that has so much blood and so much pain attached to it. So when they anointed the king, it was a Catholic priest who did the anointing. And for me, in a political sense, you have to understand that before we were attacked physically, we were attacked spiritually, meaning that the missionaries came to Africa. They studied us. They studied our traditions. They studied what we value. And they wrote back to their queen to tell the queen the best ways to manipulate and to cut down the psyche of the black man. So by the time all these people came, gun blazing, they had already knew what we value. They already understood our ways. They knew what to attack. And they tried by all means to attack our spirit and to make us let go of some of the values and the traditions and the ceremonies that were practiced. So when I saw him being anointed, I was insulted, I was insulted because if you say it's because he's Christian, for me, I don't buy it. I really don't buy it, because had he been anointed by in Nazareth, the people, Sonta Kashembe, the priest, the pastor, or umfundisi wakashembe, or in Nazareth, to me, that would have made more sense, It would have made more sense because in my understanding, the royal family, bayasabat. That's my understanding. And please correct me if I'm wrong. Most of these royal families, bayasabat. So why wasn't umfundisi osabathayo the one to anoint him? Why did it have to be a Catholic? The very same people who cut down our traditions, who told us that indlela zethu azikho right. The people who took away a lot from us and handed us a Bible, Why is it that you see that lo mfundisi emgcoba bese wafakwa neringi? See, this is why a lot of people felt insulted. This is why a lot of people were angry, because it brings me to another question. When are we going to truly do away with the ways of the West? To me, that anointment felt like they were saying to that monarch, Go Elizabeth, ukuthi, don't worry, your assets are safe. That's how it felt to me. If anything, that one moment alone turned me off. And it even made me go back to the time, when there was the fighting going on, before he was placed as the king, where he wasn't the only one who wanted the throne. He wasn't the only one who felt was entitled to the throne. And I'm not agreeing with Usmagat. I'm not, but it took me back to the time, I'm paraphrasing at this moment, but he said that we are controlled by the West. That moment of anointment proved that for me. It proved that for me, and it was sad to watch. I enjoyed everything except that. Why, if you want to honor a king, why not just stick to the cultural aspects? There'll be dancing, there'll be speeches, there'll be whatever needs to happen. Why do you now have to include religion? And I would argue that that truly is not his religion, because bengaloni Nazareth ebegade limqoba. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I would argue that that moment was a Western construct. That moment showed me ukuthi we are not yet to Hur. We still have a long way to go if a king or a queen in their coronation has to be anointed. No, man. I mean, we know that the king is our king. We know that. We don't need a spectacle or anything like that. This was truly just for the presidentials, And knowing the presidentials, they never think for the people. They think about themselves, and they think about the agendas of the royal family that belongs to England. That's the agenda they pushed. And I saw it happen. In that moment of the anointment, that was a very political strategy. It had nothing to do with culture. And he was given his certificate. That's well and fine. Not that we need it, honestly. We know he's our king. We are proud that he's our king. We love him as our king. But that moment was depressing to watch, because I could see the agendas of the West being pushed in that one moment. All it took was one moment. Now let's go. That was the political, political implications of this whole thing that I saw. Let's go to the spiritual part of it, which is what I am more interested in. If you want to honor someone, you do so in a way that is authentic and true to who they are. I have never seen an Indian person or a person who is non-black, when they are being honored. I have never seen elements of the West being pushed into the honoring of that person. Why is it when it comes to honoring our own, why are we not sticking just to the traditional ways? Just that. Why do we now have to why do we have to impress these people? Like, seriously, why do we have to impress them? It's 2022. They are not the boss of us. But I feel like That was to make him socially acceptable. And till now we have accepted him. You know, we loved him. We knew it was him all along. And let me just tell you something. You know, if you are aware, our king is born on the 23rd of September. The 23rd of September is the beginning of the year in our calendar. The beginning of the year with us is September because we are in the southern hemisphere. This is when spring happens, right? So the first day of the year for us is the 23rd. He was born on the 23rd of September. The beginning. And I think when you know that, this is where you see Uti, even his birth had a new beginning, you know? It had a powerful beginning. So if we were to go according to astrology, well, in our way, that would make him an Aries. I know. But I'm talking specifically in the southern hemisphere, that this season is ruled by Aries, you know? And there's a lot I can say about that, but that alone, it shows you how he is the beginning of a new era, you know? So that's why I felt it was unnecessary to add that anointment. Yes, the families came out and they say they spoke about it and there was nothing out of order, but I hear what they're saying, but I feel like they are not listening to the people, you know. I get what you are saying, but this is how people are feeling, and this is something that needs to be really addressed, you know, because you have to understand that with us, our royal families are the custodians of the sacred ceremonies that need to be held in order for us to live, you know, in a proper frequency. The reason so many things are going wrong in our lives is because the sacred ceremonies are no longer performed. So it's up to the royal family to bring back those ancient rites, those ancient celebrations and ceremonies. So now when I see an anointment, that just says to me, yes, sis, man. This person, yabona Elizabeth, ngisho sefile, she's still in control. And that is problematic. Now okay, we're still on the spiritual. Guys, please forgive me. I'm very passionate when it comes to, you know, our African ceremonies, our rites, our traditions, our cultures. This brings life to me. Like, I love African mythology in all forms. I love African culture. I love everything that has to do with Ubuntu. This is why if you are even familiar with my work, you can always see with the stories that I write, you know, they always have that backdrop of Africanism, you know? And this is why I feel very passionate. And this is why I wanted to make it clear why some people felt, you know, betrayed. by this whole thing. While we're still talking about the spiritual, implications of what happened that day. When you anoint a person, you put a holy oil here. You anoint the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, right? So the holy oil is put here or here, which happens to be your crown chakra, which happens to be your third eye. So for me, I dare say this, it felt like the blocking of the third eye. And nowadays, you don't need a white person to come and do these rites. Ne? You can get a person who's black like you, who's going to come and do the anointment. And it's pretty much the slave is now doing the master's work, I felt that moment was not necessary. Honestly, I felt it was not necessary, and I can go on and on and on about it, but I felt like it was the blocking of the third eye. It was showing the control, how we still control you, even in your own home. I know that this presidential coronation was to make the West comfortable. It was for them. It was to make them comfortable with all of this. It was to make them comfortable. And the question is, when are we going to make us comfortable? And why are we still doing rituals that belong to the West? Why are we not comfortable with our own things, in all their beauty? Why do we have to add an element that's going to comfort the West? It was unnecessary, honestly. And I feel that some people are not understanding, They're like, oh, but, it's not a big deal. Yes, it is a big deal. It is a huge deal. It is a huge deal. Do you understand the spiritual implications of that? They should have just stuck to, the festivities. They shouldn't have been a ritual, because that ritual, for me, it felt like we are comforting the West. It just showed me, Guti, we are saying, Guti, oh no, we still follow you, That was sad to watch. And for the fact that it has been happening, not just with our nation, the Zulu nation, but it's something that happens across Africa. Our kings and our queens have to be somehow flavorable or accepted by the British royal monarch. It's disturbing. It's really disturbing, because it just proves, Wuti, we are indeed the Republic of South Africa. And my question is, when are we going to truly not be apologetic and not include things that are foreign to us, honestly? When are we going to be comfortable with just performing or doing things, without making the West comfortable? And I'm saying this with an understanding that this was a presidential coronation. It wasn't the traditional one. But even so, respect the person enough to not include your own things that are going to make you flavorable to your master, because we know our presidents are owned by the British royal family. We know that. So now you want to own our throne? You know, going forward, I hope they heard the people, and I hope this will be the end of being apologetic about things that are us. I am yet to see an Indian person, you know, including elements of the West to make people comfortable. And do you know why that is? It's because they don't want to be liked by you. Oh, hell no. They don't care. The point is what I'm doing acceptable to my people? Am I losing myself or parts of me? And this is what I like about the Asian people. Wherever they travel, they are not apologetic about who they are. Hell no. If you have a problem, that's on you, babe. That's all you. It does not affect me at all. That is the spirit I love to see. And that is what I want to see throughout Africa. Black people not including things just to make it acceptable to the West. No, man. We are in Africa. When you are in Africa, you do as the black people do. If you are in Kemet, you do as what the Kemet people do. You know? Why are the original people apologetic about everything? Why are we comforting people? Like, no, if you are gonna honor me in a way that's not foreign to me. And that is my whole thing with this. This is what that made me uneasy about this whole thing. I was happy about everything up until I saw that. I felt that it was unnecessary. I felt like, why are we still making people comfortable in 2023? No, in 2022, oh my goodness. In 2022, we still want the white monarch to be comfortable. No, man. If anything, if their spirits are irritated, that's a beautiful thing. It's music to my ears, because that would mean that we are doing something right. If anything, that coronation showed me that it's not yet Uhuru. Not yet Uhuru. We have a long way to go. But you know what? A new generation of fierce people are being born. People are speaking out. People are questioning things that are foreign. And I like the fact that people, you know, they were questioning that why is this happening? No. You know, that was beautiful to watch. Because it showed me, Guti, the future is in the right hands. The black man is waking up. Okay, guys. Up until next time, don't forget to be a grounding flavor. And I am Sibulelo, Myeni.